This is Skeptical Scott reporting live from October2011.org. It's an occupation of Freedom Plaza here in downtown DC, just 2 blocks from the White House. And right here on Pennsylvania Avenue, you turn to your left, you can see the Capitol. You turn to your right, you can see the White House. And we're right here in the middle. Right now it's about 7:30 p.m. Thursday night, October 6th. Today's the very first day. It started around noon today. They took a break this afternoon. About, I think, 1,000 people or so marched over to Lafayette Plaza, Lafayette Park, over by the White House. And now we're listening to Emma and the Revolution. And they're playing music. And up next will be Chris Hedges. Chris had already agreed to do a brief interview with me, and so I'm waiting for him to come back from the bathroom, and I'm going to ask him a couple questions. Again, this is Skeptical Scott with Filter Free Radio, filterfreeradio.com, coming to you live from October2011.org. Let's say it's Occupy DC. Human needs sign says human needs, not corporate greed. And it says we the people say human needs, not corporate greed. A lot of signs around. Veterans for Peace is here. Hope Inc. is here. A lot of other progressive organizations in the area. There's a sign right in front of me that says, how's the economy working for you? So far it's a real peaceful movement. Everybody seems pretty happy. It's sort of a gathering of people looking around. It's just now getting dark and cold, so I think most people are sort of settling in, sort of seeing what's going on here. It's more like a concert or a gathering even. Almost sort of feels like, dare I say, Bonnaroo. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
You know, there's some shows we start with, we play audio clips of you, and the question I wanted to really ask you this time was, where do you see the country in about 5 years or so?
Well, if we don't break the back of the corporate state, we're finished. I mean, just in terms of the environment alone.
Yeah.
That it has that kind of urgency. So either we get out and wrest the country back from the hands of psychopaths, or they'll make the ecosystem unfit for human habitation and turn us all into serfs.
Neo-feudalism.
Well, they're pretty far advanced. I mean, look at what's happened to the working class in the United States.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been unemployed for 2.5 years, and I have a college degree.
Right. So, well, you're not alone, unfortunately.
Right. I guess, how do you manage to stay optimistic? I mean, my problem is I tell people and inform people the news that I've learned from reading your books and other things. They just get depressed and overwhelmed, and they don't want to hear it. And how do I get through to those people?
Well, that's the problem, you know. So then what do they watch, you know? Oprah? I don't know. The fact is, we better wake up to how serious the crisis is, because we owe it. I mean, I have kids. I owe it to my kids. I think I'm a realist in how bad it is, but I'm certainly going to fight as hard as I can to make sure they have a future.
And that's definitely another new motivating factor.
Of course. I mean, that is the motivating factor.
For future generations.
For my, you know, in a very selfish way, for my children.
Because for myself, I'm 40 years old, and I try and coerce my friends into action, and they say, well, nothing's going to happen in our lifetime. And I've listened to you, and you say things like, well, it's not going to happen in our lifetime, which is a real demotivator.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if we fall into the emotional highs and lows of American political life, then we're susceptible to falling into cynicism and despair. We don't want to do that. We have to recognize how bad it is, and then once we swallow that bitter pill, fight back. But by pretending that things are better than they are, or that, you know, everything is going to be wonderful within a year, is to be self-deluded.
I appreciate your time. I'll let you go.
I think it's worth noting
that everybody here,
activists,
anywhere from elderly to
veterans, basically led by veterans around the country.
More than 50% of the people here are Jacob Dean's age. They're all younger than me anyway, and I'm 40, so there's a few old people. You know, 20% or so of the old hippies and peaceniks and some pagans here. Veterans for Peace is here from Minneapolis.
This is my kind of music, man.
So you got all the basics, protest people, but then you got a lot of other young people coming out, seeing what's going on and participating. This little young college chick just got up on stage, play some music. This looks pretty organized, actually. Human need, not corporate greed. We need jobs at a living wage. All right, so I'm walking to the far corner of the plaza right now. It's a good drum circle, okay? Take that back. There's a circle of people around a drum. It's a big drum. Big enough that 7 people can stand around it and beat on it. It's kind of cool. It's got wheels on it. It's a drum with wheels on it. Huh.
The next speaker that we have I don't believe needs any introduction to the people on this plaza. A journalist, a friend, a prophet who just really tells it like it is. A warm welcome for Chris Hedges.
There are no excuses left. Either you join the revolt taking place here tonight on Wall Street and in financial districts of other cities across the country, or you stand on the wrong side of history. Either you obstruct in the only form left to us, which is through civil disobedience, the plundering by the criminal class on Wall Street, an accelerated destruction of the ecosystem that sustains the human species, or you become a passive enabler of a monstrous evil. Either you taste, feel, and smell the intoxication of freedom and revolt, or sink into the miasma of despair and apathy. Either you are a rebel or a slave. To be declared innocent in a country where the rule of law means nothing, where we have undergone a corporate coup, where the poor and working men and women are reduced to joblessness and hunger, where war, financial speculation, and internal surveillance are the only real business of the state, where even habeas corpus no longer exists, where you as a citizen are nothing more than a commodity to corporate systems of power, one to be used and discarded, is to be complicit in this radical evil. To stand on the sidelines and say, "I am innocent," is to bear the mark of Cain. It is to do nothing to reach out to help the weak, the oppressed, and the suffering, to save the planet. To be innocent in times like these is to be a criminal. Ask the environmental activist Tim DeChristopher, now in prison. Choose, but choose fast. The state and the corporate forces are determined to crush this. They are not going to wait for you. They are terrified this will spread as it is spreading. They have their long phalanxes of police on motorcycles, their rows of white paddy wagons, their foot soldiers hunting for you on the streets with pepper spray and orange plastic nets. They have their metal barricades set up on every single street leading into the financial district in New York, where the mandarins in Brooks Brothers suits use your money they stole from you, to gamble and speculate and gorge themselves, while 1 in 4 children outside those barricades depend on food stamps to eat. Speculation in the 17th century was a crime. Speculators were hanged. Today they run the state and financial markets. They disseminate the lies that pollute our airwaves. They know, even better than you or I, how pervasive the corruption and theft has become, how game the system is against you, how corporations have cemented into place a thin oligarchic class and an obsequious cadre of politicians, including Barack Obama, judges, and journalists who live in their little gated Versailles, while 6 million Americans are thrown out of their homes, a number soon to rise to 10 million, where 1 million people a year go bankrupt because they cannot pay their medical bills, and 45,000 die from lack of proper care, where real joblessness is spiraling to over 20%, where the citizenry, including students, spend lives toiling in debt peonage, working dead-end jobs when they have a job, a world devoid of hope, a world of masters and serfs. The only word these corporations know is more. They are disemboweling every last social service program funded by taxpayers, from education to Social Security, because they want that money for themselves. Let the sick die. Let the poor go hungry. Let families be tossed in the street. Let the unemployed rot. Let children in the inner city or rural wastelands learn nothing and live in misery and fear. Let students finish school with no jobs and no prospects of jobs. Let the prison system, the largest in the industrialized world, expand to swallow up all potential dissenters. Let torture continue. Let teachers, police, firefighters, postal employees, and social workers join the ranks of the unemployed. Let our imperial wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and our proxy wars in Yemen, Pakistan, and Somalia bankrupt the state and leave hundreds of thousands of innocents maimed and dead. Let the roads, bridges, dams, levees, power grids, rail lines, subways, bus services, schools, and libraries crumble or close. Let the rising temperatures of the planet, the freak weather patterns, the hurricanes, the droughts, the flooding, the tornadoes, the melting polar ice caps, the poisoned water systems, the polluted air increase until the species dies. Who the hell cares if the stocks of ExxonMobil or the coal industry or Goldman Sachs are high? Life is good. Profit, profit, profit. This is what they chant behind those metal barricades in the financial district. They have their fangs deep into your necks, and if you do not shake them off very, very soon, they will kill you, and they will kill the ecosystem, dooming your children and your children's children. And they are too stupid and too blind to see that they will perish with the rest of us. So either you rise up and supplant them, either you dismantle the corporate state for a world of sanity, a world where we no longer kneel before the absurd idea that the demands of financial markets should govern human behavior, or watch as we are frog-marched towards self-annihilation. Those on the streets around Wall Street and here tonight are the physical embodiment of hope. You know that hope has a cost, that it is not easy or comfortable, that it requires self-sacrifice and discomfort, and finally faith. And those who hope sleep on cement every night, and their clothes are soiled, and they have eaten more bagels and peanut butter than they ever thought possible, and they have tasted fear, been beaten, gone to jail, been blinded by pepper spray, cried, hugged each other, laughed, sung, talked too long in general assemblies, seen their chants drift upwards to the office towers above them, and wondered if it is worth it, if anyone cares, if they will win. But as long as we remain steadfast, we can see our way out of the corporate labyrinth. This is what it means to be alive. And you tonight, and those in New York, and Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, and Boston, and dozens of other cities across this country are the best among us.
Chris Hedges.
Chris Hedges is being mobbed right now as he comes off the stage. Must be, 20 or 30 people right here trying to get their pictures taken with him. Everyone's got their cameras on him. A minute ago, he was walking through the crowd. No one knew who he was. Just standing here, hoping to get another interview with him, or at least get a chance to say, "Hey man, come on our radio show, please." Hey, you're with Chris, right?
Yeah.
I've already talked to him. I'm just wondering. Yeah, no, I'm not
Okay,
going to
good. I was
bother.
gonna say,
I
it'll
can
be
see the
the
mob.
same
Can I ask you some questions? Do you care? You guys gonna run?
Sure, go for it.
What do you think of where we are in our society?
Where we are in our society?
Yeah.
Oh God, you'll have me here all night. Well,
Pretty broad question.
this is proof that something good is happening. Clearly, between Wall Street, between all the movements going on, really all over the world, not just America. I like to see things in a global society. I'm sorry, the Eugene V. Debs in me.
No, absolutely. Well, that's the right way to look at things, though. I mean, obviously we're all in this together.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we're realizing here, we're definitely waking up. Or at least, I hate to say waking up, more like coming together, really, and finding the space and the means of coming together. And really, I think that's why it's exploding the way it is, because we're feeling so empowered at this unexpected uniting. And everyone's been thinking the same thing. It's just a matter of...
Yeah, personally, I've spent years telling people this. No one wants to hear it. But now that they see it, I think people can get behind this.
Yeah, it's difficult. Nobody wants to hear all the terrible things, and ignorance is always bliss. But, the fact of the matter is, the financial structure as it is cannot sustain us. The environment the way it is cannot sustain us. Our government the way it is, and all of its corporate elite ties that it has can't sustain us.
So how'd you meet Chris then?
He came to Hofstra University, where I'm a student, and gave a remarkable speech on his book Empire of Illusion, The End of Literacy and the Triumph of Spectrum.
Awesome, I've seen all those speeches.
Oh yeah, personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
So I...
at the new school I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I went up to him afterward and I asked him, why aren't you running for president? And he said, oh please, I'm not that insane. As if I insulted him. But then we had lunch and talked for a while, and I ended up going on the Truth Dig trek with him.
Oh, cool.
The backpacking trip.
Yeah.
So I did that.
They didn't do one this year, though.
No, they didn't. Yeah. So we've just been in touch ever since, and I was lucky enough to be able to accompany him down to DC today. So.
Okay, so you're his assistant then, on a regular basis?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's just really kind-hearted.
Oh, man.
It's really the only explanation I have.
I'm not literally kill, but metaphorically kill to pick his brain for an hour.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I read all his stuff, I listen to all his books. Both our fathers are Presbyterian ministers, and I'm like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a small world. Like, he knows people I know, but 6 degrees or whatever. And so it's like, I've turned him on to people that I know and my friends and family, and they're just amazed. Some say he's too pessimistic, some say, wow, where's the wisest guy in the mainstream media? But
yeah, well, you know what? If he was really that pessimistic, he wouldn't be here today. We'll put it that way.
That's what I was saying. And he just has 4 kids. He just had another one. Obviously, he's optimistic.
Yeah, he has to be. There's really, I think he's realistic. But after all these years, he's still out here. He's fighting the good fight. He's out there on that stage defending. Talking about the people sleeping on concrete.
Oh, yeah.
That's hope right there.
Well, let me ask you this then. How do you stave off your own personal cynicism?
Hope. There's people always say, how do you, that exact question they ask me, and how do you even sustain that at all? And the question is, it's really unrealistic to think that by being cynical or by ignoring the issues it's sustainable. It's really the other way around. So I feel that I have no choice but to at least try and show up, hope. Talk to people like you, see what's going on.
Well, as I'm told, hope has to have action, right?
Yes, exactly. So thank you.
Worth noting is there's somebody here with a projector on a big screen, and he's publishing all the tweets that people put to pound Occupy DC. So I guess this is going under the hashtag Occupy DC on Twitter. about 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. And I'd say there's maybe 500 people here. 300? Not a lot. But I mean, they got tents set up, and it looks like this is going to be a permanent encampment. I mean, you got a professional stage at one end with a professional soundboard and loudspeakers, and then tents set up around the edges. I was told that their license, or at least their lease for whatever the space, ends on Sunday night. So we'll see what happens Sunday night when they try and stay here before they get thrown out, I guess. A lot of young people here, I notice. 20s or so, and they all have candles. Where'd people get candles from? Anyway, it's alright. Things are starting to dwindle down, I guess. It's getting late in the night. And, fuck a dog, I'm going home.